Hi everyone, Ian Aldridge here from Progressive Legal today, talking about trademark searches and why they're so important to do before you file a trademark application. There's a few things that you really need to know about trademarks and why these searches are so important. First one is you can't amend a trademark specification of goods and services to broaden it after you file the trademark. So it's so important to get all the right services and goods and all the classes and the activities within those classes right before you file it. The next point is you don't want to be filing a trademark if there are others on the register at the moment that would be conflicting with your trademark. One, you don't want to do your dough and file trademark applications where there is a direct conflict with somebody else out there. And sometimes it's not just searching online and seeing who's out there in the market with the same name or a logo or a brand or a tagline, slapline, byline, or a hashtag or some form of badge of origin that you're wanting to register as a trademark for your business. There's lots of trademarks that exist on the register that you can't necessarily find by just Googling whatever those words or word or words or logo, etc. is out there in the market. So it's best to do a trademark search first to make sure you're not going to be infringing on somebody else's intellectual property. You're almost guaranteed to have some form of intellectual property infringement action taken against you, whether that's a cease and desist letter or even court proceedings. So you just don't want to go there. And doing this trademark search first, not just for direct infringements, but also for indirect infringements. And what I mean by that is there's sometimes parts of a word of a trademark that might be infringing others, and sometimes a very large competition that may not come up just by doing a direct trademark search conflict. We're experts in digging down into the trademark register and making sure that there's no tangential trademarks or trademarks that are overlapping in goods and services, or if they are, what are those goods and services that are overlapping? Who is the person that is registered or the company that's registered? How big are they? Have they taken other enforcement action in the past? What are they using it for currently? Sometimes there are businesses that are registering trademarks left, right and centre. Red Bull's a good example of that register in every single class of business regardless of whether they're using them or not. But some of these businesses file defensive trademarks just because they think they're so big that you couldn't register that name, like Apple or Amazon or some of these larger businesses, Ford, etc., that are very strong on their trademark protection. For instance, you couldn't register a trademark in Australia with the word Apple in it, regardless of what class or activity that you're doing, without receiving a letter from Baker and McKenzie. So this is the point that I'm making. It's much better to have these searches done prior to filing a trademark application. We can give you the prospects of success for that trademark application once we've looked at the trademark register. We can also give you some advice about the prospects with words, looking at the other registers in Australia as well, business registers, ASIC, etc., and general Google searches as well too. So that's all part of our service, and just clearing these trademarks before you file them, or at least you've got an idea of the likelihood of success before you file the trademark application, and then you just don't want to get into strife and don't want to waste money filing trademark applications that ultimately are going to be opposed or unsuccessful or cause the business grief. So it's a great way of working all these things out before you start that process, as that old stitch in time saves 9 or 99,000 approach. We're experts in doing these searches, as I said, and we can conduct comprehensive searches as well too. But the amount of times we've had conversations with clients where they've come to us for advice about particular trademarks, and we've been able to guide them as to which trademarks have got better chance of success, and some of them to avoid completely before they go down the road of doing up branding and spending $20,000, $30,000 on branding and marketing materials and all the rest, only to find out that if they'd just come to us first for a quick search, we would have been able to tell them that there were 5 conflicting trademarks altogether, and go back to the drawing board now before you get too attached to it. Ultimately, this is a process of working out how we're going to protect the intellectual property of the business. What are the chances of success? And there's oftentimes good little tips and tricks of how we get these trademarks through and get at least some protection for the business. It's all part of our service. Thanks a lot.